today's video, we will do mesh equations by inspection method. It is part 2 of mesh equations. This is the easier method where we can calculate the equations just by looking at the circuit, provided we know the general mesh equations. This is your R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. This is a 3 mesh resistive network. The general mesh equations for 3 mesh resistive network is as follows. The first one is R11 I1 plus or minus R12 I2 plus or minus R13 I3 is equals to VA. The second equation is plus or minus R21 I1 plus R22 I2 plus or minus R23 I3 equal to VB. And the third equation is plus or minus R31 I1 plus or minus R32 I2 plus R33 I3 is equals to VC. Now if you notice over here, when you say R11, it is first row, first column, R12, first row, second column, R13 is first row, third column, and so on. R21 is second row, first column. Similarly, R31 is third row, first column. Now if you look at the circuit, what is R11? R11 is all the resistances with respect to sum of the resistances with respect to loop 1. That is which one? R11 is equal to R1 plus R2. When we are talking about R12, it is the resistance which is actually common between loop 1 and loop 2. So in this case, what is the resistance that is common? Is R2. Since the direction of current I1 is this way and the direction of current I2 is this way, we are putting it as minus R2. Next, the third one, R13. R13, there is no resistance which is common between loop 1 and loop 3. So therefore it is equal to 0. This completes your first row of 3 mesh resistive network equation. The second row of 3 mesh resistive network, R21. When I am talking about R21, it is again the resistance which is common between loop 2 and loop 1. Again it is R2. Since the direction of current I1 and I2 is in the opposite direction, so R21 is equals to minus R2. R22 is sum of all the resistances with respect to loop 2. So it is R2 plus R3, and R23 is, that is the resistance which is common between loop 2 and loop 3. Since there is no resistance common between loop 2 and loop 3, it is equal to 0. Next is the third row of equations. R31. Is there any resistance that is common between loop 3 and loop 1? No resistance. So therefore it is equal to 0. R32. Any resistance that is common between loop 3 and loop 2? No resistance. So equal to 0. And R33. That is the resistance which is equivalent to all the loop 3. So what is the resistance? Sum of resistances R4 and R5. Let's go to a problem. Take down a problem. Write the mesh equations. For the circuit by inspection method. Kindly draw the circuit along with me. Kindly draw the circuit. Okay. Let's write the 3-mesh general equations, 3-mesh network general equations. General equations R11 I1 plus or minus R12 I2 plus or minus R13 I3 is equals to VA. Equation 1 plus or minus R21 I1 plus or minus, sorry, not plus or minus, just plus R22 I2 plus or minus R23 I3 is equals to VB. The last is R31 I1 plus or minus R32 I2 plus R33 I3 is equals to VC. VA, VB, VC is with the voltage with respect to loop 1, VB is the voltage with respect to loop 2, and VC is the voltage with respect to loop 3. This is 10 volts and this is 5 volts. So let's start. What is R11? R11 will be your self-resistance. This is 1 ohm. What is R11? Self-resistance with respect to loop 1. That will be 1 plus 3 plus 6. 1 plus 3 plus 6. That is nothing but 10 ohms. What will be R12? R12 will be the resistance which is common between loop 1 and loop 2. Since the direction of current is in the opposite direction, it is minus 3 ohms. R13 is the resistance which is common between loop 1 and loop 3, that is 6 ohms. Again, the direction of current is in the opposite direction, so it is minus 6 ohms. Next, what is the resistance? R21. R21, that is the resistance which is common between loop 2 and loop 1, that is minus 3 ohms. R22 is all the resistances in loop 2, that is 3, 2, 5. So 3 plus 2 plus 5, that is equal to 10 ohms. And R23, there's no resistance which is common between 2 and 3, loop 2 and 3, so it is 0. And let's solve the third, R31. The resistance that is common between loop 3 and loop 1 is again minus 6 ohms. R32, it is 0, no resistance between loop 3 and loop 2. And R3P, it is 10, that is the total resistance in loop 3, that is 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4. Now let's see the voltages. The voltages, voltage VA, that is the voltage associated with loop 1, that is how much? 10 volts. This voltage with respect to loop 1. What is the voltage with respect to loop 2? It is, since the direction of current is this way, so it is minus 5 volts. And voltage with respect to loop 3, so it would be, direction of current is this way, so it is 20 plus 5, so total is 25 volts. So if you rewrite the equations, the three mesh equations, it will be 10 I1 minus 3 I2 minus 6 I3 is equals to 10 volts minus 3 I1 plus 10 I2 is equals to minus 5 volts, and minus 6 I1 plus 10 I3 is equal to 25 volts. This is how you solve the mesh equations by inspection method.